In the headlines, bandits abduct 40 worshippers in Zamfara mosque attack. Court dismisses suit seeking to stop David Mark, Aregbesola as new ADC leaders. Kano entrepreneur powers local tech with made in Nigeria USB cables. And on the foreign scene, Tanzania opposition presidential candidate barred for second term. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We begin with security matters. Suspected armed bandits on Monday morning attacked and abducted about 40 worshippers from a mosque at Gidan Turbe village in Safi local government area of Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria. The attack was occurred during dawn prayers at about 5:30 a.m. when the gunmen invaded the mosque, surrounded it, and kidnapped the worshippers in the troubled village. Locals narrated that the abductors later whisked away their victims into the forest around the Gohori axis in the Safi local government area. The incident has thrown the rural community into panic and despondency, coming at a time when local leaders and some armed groups in the troubled zone had reportedly entered into peace initiative aimed at reducing attacks during the farming season. Efforts to get the Zamfara police authorities to confirm the incident were unsuccessful at the time of filing in this report. Men on Sunday night killed at least 6 persons at the Wakap community of Mushere Chiefdom in Bokos local government area of Plateau State. Residents told Trust TV that the gunmen in large numbers stormed the attacked community at midnight and started shooting sporadically, adding that the perpetrators set several houses ablaze. The National Publicity Secretary of Mushere Youth Movement, Kutiyil Gashion Nahum, confirmed the development on Monday, explaining that many people are still missing. The kidnapped ward head of Shuaka community of Geram district, Kanam local government area of Plateau State, Malam Hudu Hassan Barrow, has been killed by his abductors. The chairman and secretary of Kanam Development Association, Garbaji Aliyu and Shehu Kanam, while confirming the abduction and killing of the ward head, disclosed that his body was discovered on Monday morning, 6 days after his abduction. They described the incident as senseless, saying that the deceased's lifeless body was recovered from the bush around Wonka Forest on Monday. The secretary further called on all relevant stakeholders in the state, including the state government, senators, and members representing the constituencies, as well as security agencies, to come to the aid of the areas as bandits have taken over their communities. Spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, was yet to respond to the inquiry regarding the development as at press time. Now, away from security matters, the hearing in a suit seeking to stop the David Mark-led leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, suffered a setback on Monday at the Federal High Court in Abuja following the failure to serve court papers on David Mark and others as required by law. Justice Emeka Nwite, billed to adjudicate in the party leadership dispute, has however fixed September 30th as a new date for the hearing. The report.
At Monday's proceedings, counsel to the plaintiff, Michael Agba, had claimed that all processes and orders made by the court have been served on the 5 defendants involved in the legal battle. However, Justice Nwite, after searching through the court file, could not find the proof of service. In the drama that ensued, the plaintiff lawyer later claimed that he served David Mark, Rafiu Aregbesola, and Chief Raf Nwosu, who are second, third, and fifth defendants in the suit, through the ADC. Justice Nwite, in response, faulted the mood of the service, adding that the law required the plaintiff to serve court papers on Mark, Aregbesola, and Nwosu individually. Having admitted errors in the mode of service of court papers, the plaintiff lawyer sought for adjournment to enable him put his house in order. The ADC, represented by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN, Shaib Enojo Aruwa, claimed that the party had not been fully served in compliance with the law by the plaintiff.
The court has done the right thing by asking us to serve them personally. We shall actually take the necessary process to serve them. And that may be, if they are very invasive and it appears difficult to serve them, we know how to get them by substituted service.
There was no record of service in the court file. And two, it was brought to the attention of the court that it was only the first defendant that was served. And in the face of the fact that there was no any order of court for substituted service on the second, third, and fifth defendant through the first defendant, the plaintiff could have validly served the second, third, and fifth defendant through the first defendant. And the court agreed with our submission and, stated clearly that the plaintiff must serve the second, third, and fifth defendant personally, because that is the law.
Justice Nwete has fixed September 30 for the hearing of the suit.
Now, a Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has ruled that the August 30th, 2025 local government election in the state was not only constitutional but legitimate. The presiding judge, Justice Stephen Jumbo, also threw away the suit filed by a Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner, William Stanley, challenging the just concluded local government elections. Stanley had in the suit challenged the legality of the appointment of the state's sole administrator by President Bola Tinubu and the administrator's nominations of the chairman and members of RSIEC to conduct the August 30th local government council elections. But Justice Stephen Jumbo, in his ruling on the issue of Lucas standi of the claimant and jurisdiction of the court, held that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit. He stated that based on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, only the Supreme Court has the exclusive jurisdiction to hear such suits during emergency rule. He also held that the claimant lacked the locus standi and institute the suit against the defendant because he was not able to show personal interest above public interest and as well as his civil rights and obligations that had been violated by the actions of the defendants. The Special Offences Division of the Lagos High Court in Ikeja has granted the application of former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele to engage forensic experts to examine WhatsApp conversations and a mobile device marked iPhone 2 that were tendered as evidence in his ongoing trial. Justice Rahman Oshodi, in his ruling, held that the defendant had the rights to conduct an independent forensic review, provided safeguards were in place to protect the integrity of the evidence. He ordered that the inspection of the evidence be conducted in the presence of the representatives of all parties in the case, with each party allowed no more than one lawyer and one forensic expert. The court also directed that the process be supervised by a court representative and conducted between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on September 24th and 26th, 2025. Emefiele, who is facing a 19-count charge alongside co-defendant Henry Omoile, is accused of abuse of office, receiving gratification, accepting gifts through agents, corruption, and fraudulent property transactions involving $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira. Now, here in the FCT, the Association of Resident Doctors, Federal Capital Territory Administration, ARD-FCTA, has issued notice of an indefinite strike action over the refusal of the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, to address their demands. The strike is to take effect from Monday, 15 September 2025. In a press conference in Abuja on Monday, Dr. George Ebong said the decision followed a congress by its members on Sunday. He stressed that the strike is not targeted at the minister or anyone personally, but against the failed health sector in the nation's capital. The indefinite strike comes after the end of a 7-day warning strike by ARD-FCTA. Oyo State, ahead of the 2027 general polls, former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi has met with the Olubadan designate Rashidi Ladoja in Oyo State. Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, also visited former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Accompanying him on the visit were the spokesman of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko, the LP's 2023 Lagos governorship candidate Badebo Rhodes Vivor, and Segun Adebanjo. Briefing journalists, Obi said his visit was to pay homage to the Olubadan designate due to the strategic and central nature of the city to the political, social, and economic development of Nigeria. He stated that Ladoja would bring his wealth of experience as a former senator, governor, and business tycoon to lead Ibadan in an enviable position. In his response, Ladoja submitted that his aspiration to the throne of Olubadan is in furtherance of his service to humanity. This is news update on Trust TV coming up ahead. Kano entrepreneur powers local tech with made in Nigeria USB cables. This and many more when we return. To stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that bandits abduct 40 worshippers in Zamfara mosque attack. And court dismisses suit seeking to stop David Mark, Aregbesola as new ADC leaders. Now moving on to more stories, in Dakata Kawaji industrial area of Kano State, a young entrepreneur is achieving what many thought possible only in global hubs like China. For nearly 2 years, he has been running a small factory where he designs and manufactures different types of phone charger cables. Abdulaziz Ibrahim visited his workshop to learn about his journey, the challenges he faces, and his hopes for Nigeria's manufacturing future. Let's take a look.
In a modest workshop tucked away in Dakata Kawaji, soldering machines hum with activity. Here, Sharafuddin Sadiq produces a variety of USB cables, supplying customers across Nigeria and beyond. It is a venture that began 2 years ago, born out of curiosity and a passion for technology. After finishing my first degree, instead of looking for a job, I decided to research how I could start a venture that would not only contribute to the country's development, but also provide jobs and reduce our overdependence on imported products. From those early experiments, his work quickly gained attention. Videos of his Nigeria-made cables went viral on social media, drawing admiration from far and wide. This is where we test the cables. Every cable must pass a quality test twice before going to the market. But the true measure of his work is found in Kano's Bata Market, one of the city's busiest phone accessory hubs. Here, most dealers still depend on imports, ordering bulk packages from China shipped through Lagos before reaching their shelves. We import almost everything: cables, chargers, phone cases, and screen guards from China. I once got calls from other states asking if cables were being made in Kano. At that time, I didn't know. But if it's true, it's a sign of progress. I source my products from China through firms in Lagos. I haven't seen locally made cables yet, but once they are available, I believe we'll use them. Yet few are now stocking Sharafuddin's cables, and their customers are beginning to notice the difference. We buy from different companies. Since the made in Nigeria cables came, we are happy with their quality, fast charging, and fair price, though we'll still like the price to come down further. When we heard the cables were made in Nigeria, we were excited. They use copper wires, work for both charging and data, but many customers still remain skeptical. Dealers say reviews from their buyers are encouraging, even though some remain cautious about how far local production can compete with global supply chains. I was among the first to sell the Kano-made cables. At first, customers doubted them, thinking they were substandard. I even gave some out for free just to prove their quality. The challenge is trust. Many people don't believe in Nigerian products, but when you compare the quality with expensive imports, the local cables hold up and at a better price. Back in Dakata, Sharafuddin admits the challenges are tough. High cost of raw materials, expensive machines, unstable exchange rates, and the burden of electricity weigh heavily on his young factory. I experienced a lot of challenges, especially with expensive machines like this laser printer. But with support from my family, I was able to set up the business. Another challenge is the fluctuating exchange rate, which is a headache, especially for the raw materials we import. The cost of electricity also made our products very expensive, so we switched to solar system during production hours. Still, his story highlights the possibilities of homegrown innovation. Though Nigeria lags behind global manufacturing giants, he believes the country holds immense potential if given the right support.
Kamar kasashen waje da suka ci gaba, kamar China ko India da sauransu.
In countries like China and India, once they discover talent or innovation that can benefit the sector, the government steps in with support, which makes it easier. But in Nigeria, government support is scarce. For years, people have been buying imported cables of low quality that just end up as junk. We hope to start producing our own machines here and also recycle raw materials to make production easier. From Dakata Kawaji, Sharafuddin's cables are not just powering phones, but also powering hope for a future where Nigerian technology is truly made in Nigeria. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
In other news, the global push for a green economy is gaining momentum, but many young Nigerians still lack the hands-on skills needed in renewable energy and sustainable development. This skills gap poses a major challenge as the country grapples with rising unemployment and a worsening energy crisis. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, more than 33% of Nigerian youths are unemployed, and opportunities for technical training is emerging in emerging sectors such as solar, wind, waste-to-energy and sustainable agriculture remain limited. Stakeholders in the energy sector are therefore urging Nigerian youths to equip themselves with practical skills in renewable energy, recycling and other eco-friendly practices. Such initiatives, they say, are crucial, especially as Nigeria has pledged to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2060 under the Paris Climate Agreement.
Yes, so it will definitely create career pathways for them in innovative technologies. And of course, there are a lot of jobs that people are not aware of. People see AI today as just a product and they are consumers. However, AI can actually be a source of job creation for our youth.
Nigeria is very, very rich, as we all know, in terms of mineral resources. We have lithium in almost every state in the country. And it baffles us, to know that, why is Nigeria still importing lithium battery? Now the government is actually taking a very huge step in localizing and domesticating our technology. And what are we doing? Because we cannot do that alone without investors. We are talking to so many investors to come and scale up and generate and start producing those batteries in here in the country.
What we're doing today is to equip people with green skills that once our solution is in the market, they can tap in. So for example, things around AI, how you can map streets to streets, how all this data is being gathered by the government and will be very valuable for our solution, not just our solution, but also the government in terms of knowing actual generators being used in different communities and how they can phase it out to sustainable solutions such as the one we're producing into the market.
And now in business, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has stated that inflation figure dropped to 20.12% in the month of August. A report released on Monday said food inflation also dropped to 1.65% when compared to the 3.12% recorded in the month of July. It attributed the decline to the drop in the average prices of imported rice, local rice, Guinea corn flour, maize flour sold loose, Guinea corn, which is sorghum, millet, semolina, soya milk, etc. The report went on to state that the August figure was 1.76% drop when compared to the inflation rates imported rice, local rice, Guinea corn flour, maize flour sold loose, Guinea corn, sorghum, millet, semolina, soya milk, etc. The report went on to state that the August figure was 1.76% drop when compared to the inflation rate of 21.88% in July. On a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 12.03%, lower than the rate recorded in August 2024, which was 32.15%. This shows that the headline inflation rate year-on-year basis decreased in August 2025 compared to the same month in the preceding year, that is August 2024, though with a different base year. And now on the foreign scene, Tanzania's Electoral Commission says it has disqualified opposition presidential candidate Luhaga Mpina for the second time on Monday, reversing a decision made 2 days earlier approving his nomination. The disqualification of Mpina, who leads the country's second largest opposition party, leaves President Samia Suluhu Hassan a clear run at next month's election, with only candidates from smaller parties in the race. The vote will also be held without leading opposition party Chadema, which was disqualified in April after failing to sign the Electoral Code of Conduct as part of its call for electoral reforms. The Chadema presidential candidate, Tundu Lissu, has been in jail for over 5 months after being charged with treason in April. He has denied the charges. Over the weekend, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, accepted the nomination papers of Mpina, a former ruling party lawmaker, following a High Court ruling that overturned an earlier decision by INEC to disqualify him. And in sport, Nigeria's world record holder Tobi Amusan took silver in the women's 100 meters hurdles at the World Championships in Tokyo on Monday. Amusan clocked 12.29 seconds behind Switzerland's Ditaji Kambunji, who clocked a national record of 12.24 seconds to win a shot gold. American Grace Stark claimed bronze in 12.34 seconds, while Olympic champion Masai Russell finished fourth with 12.44 seconds. Amusan claimed the title in 2022 in Eugene when she clocked her world record of 12.12. And that's a wrap on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thank you for watching.